last road trip. What's the key to turning around what you guys have done on the road?
As we've been talking about, we've really gone through 3 weeks here really playing well, and we're going to have to play really well on this road trip. Everybody wants to talk about Arizona, obviously, but Arizona State's playing extremely well. Beat Arizona at Arizona State, so they're just a difficult team. Both these teams will be physical. Both these teams are really good at driving the basketball, and I think that's our biggest concern with Arizona State is that they put a lot of pressure on your defense because of the way they go at you off the bounce. A little bit of Oregon to them offensively in that they don't have a lot of size. They're just really athletic. Jacobson gives them something different that I think Oregon doesn't have, and that's that legit center that's in there. But a lot of the similar offense of how you're going to have to guard the transition and the dribble drive game. So I think that's a key. And then anytime you go on the road, having a low turnover game and making some shots. You got to make some shots when you're away from home. And, consistently we haven't been able to do that. And that's what we're going to have to do on this trip.
Is it different this late in conference play going against teams that you haven't seen yet?
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday in a staff meeting that, here you are past Valentine's. You're in the third week of February, and we're getting ready to play, 4 teams. Our next 4 games are against teams we haven't seen yet. So that's unusual. It didn't happen. I don't think that happened to us last year's schedule, so it's just odd that it falls that way, that the 4 teams that we're in byes with are happening right at the end of the season. So it does make for a strange calendar of events that way, but it's the way it hits, and you got to play them. And we're going to get three games at home, and we got our last 2 road games to try to continue to build on this momentum, and that's what we're trying to do.
With one and done such a big part of college basketball now, how much of a difference does it make to have a guy like Norman who, maybe has that level of talent but still stayed 4 years because of opportunity?
Yeah, what we really appreciate about Norman is not just being a 4-year guy, because everybody's different. It's not taking anything away from guys that are 1 and done or 2 and done or leave after 3. Or Norman, I think, is a 4-year guy, and you've seen him evolve as a basketball player. You've seen him mature as a basketball player, and now most of the mock drafts have him going in the first round, which is tremendous. At the end of last year, he was kind of on the bubble of a second round pick when we did a lot of the investigation stuff after the season, and and probably the 2 years before that he wasn't on any board. So that's what you want in college basketball. You want to see guys come in one way and they go out totally different. You want them to improve as a person. You want them to improve and mature as a basketball player. And Norman's done that. I've only had him for 2 years, but he would be able to tell you how many times I've told him what a joy it is to see how he's matured. Last year, if you jump on him or if he'd have a bad play or bad stretch of play, you'd see facial expressions and he'd get down on himself. He hasn't done that this year. He's been a great leader. He's been very positive, not just to his teammates, but he's been positive on himself because he's always been really hard on himself. And because of that, I think it's freeing him up to do the things that we're seeing him do at both ends of the floor. So we only wish the best for guys like Norman because he's put in the time, he's put in the effort. That's why we're fighting like crazy for him as a staff and as a team down the stretch here to extend his season as long as you can and continue to get him on a stage where people get to see him because I think he's a very special player and he's developed very nicely.
When you met with him after last season, was there any eagerness for him to kind of jump to that next level, or is that something you had to talk to him a lot about?
No, with Norman, and every guy's different, but with Norman it was just inquiring. He wanted to know kind of what's out there. What are people saying about me? What's the next level saying? And unfortunately, when you turn that stuff in, and it's a panel of about 18 people, you only get back what they voted. And in other words, that you get lottery, mid-first round, late first round, early second, mid-second, not drafted at all. You don't get what Norman really wanted to hear is, what do I need to do? What is it that I need to work on? So we've talked to obviously a lot of scouts, and we did that for him last spring going into this season. So because he's a sponge, he wants to know how to get better. And again, it's a tribute to him, and I think he's gotten better. You've seen his shooting percentages go up. He's getting to the free throw line more this year. He's doing what we expected him to do. I think still, in my mind, he's one of the best drivers in the game that we have, and he's doing that a lot here at a high level for us right now.
How do you think he projects to the next level?
I think he's one of those guards that is a big athletic guard, and when I say big, it's more physical strength, guard that can really defend. and I think that's going to be his niche at the next level. You know, some guys, you go into the league and you're going to be a power forward and be a block-to-block guy. Other guys are going to be pick-and-pop guys like Travis. Travis is somebody that you projected him being a guy that could really run the floor, and you could really use him in pick-and-pop situations because the way he can shoot it. With Norman, I think his shooting has improved to the point where now you got to guard him, but I think his big niche is he's got a chance to be a lockdown defender with his size and strength, and then really help you offensively because his ball handling's improved. Just in 2 years, his ball handling has really improved. And when we talk about ball handling, it's not just about dribble drive, it's about can you set up in an offense and come off pick and rolls. I mean, now you see how comfortable he is. Now he comes off pick and rolls and goes backwards between his legs to get to the basket. I've never seen a split like that. So he's gotten really comfortable with things. But I think his niche will be one of those big physical guards that you can put into the game and defend.
Have you seen the curtain of distraction at Arizona State at all?
Just briefly, I saw it briefly maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I think watching game film. We were watching Arizona State probably play, one of the teams we're getting ready to play, and we saw it being advertised, but I don't know a whole lot about it other than it seems to be getting a lot of attention.
Stuff like that, does that actually work when you're at the free throw line? Do you see any of that?
Well, you probably see it, and I remember as a player, those are things you just block out, and that's why you can't shoot the ball as a free throw shooter. If you shoot it one way at home and you shoot it one way on the road, then those things are bothering you, obviously. So when you become a pure foul shooter, those things don't bother you. It doesn't matter where you're playing the game, whether, now we play those early games, we play them on aircraft carriers, we play them in, the tournament we played in the Bahamas is like in a big ballroom. So there's a lot of different atmospheres you play in. Some have, domes have no background to it, and domes are really hard. I think as a shooter, domes were the hardest thing for me to. You wanted more shots in a shoot around because you just don't have depth perception. So you're not really looking this way anyway. You're focusing on the rim, and it's the backdrop of the rim that, as a shooter, you're really focusing in. But when you hear the laughter and you hear, obviously that's something that's got to come into your mind. But that's part of mental toughness, of being able to shut that stuff off and be able to concentrate on just making a shot.
What's been the key to you guys getting to the line more often in these last few years?
I think we're driving it harder. I do think we're if you look at our pick and roll offense over the last 2 weeks, we're attacking more, where I think 2 weeks ago we came off of it a little soft. We got some young guards, and so they're figuring out, watching a lot of tape. We break down a lot of tape for them, from watching Steve Nash to Tony Parker to Westbrook to you name it. They spend a lot of time watching tape on how the best of the best do it. It's the same way with contesting shots. We gave them a stat the other day that at the ultimate level, the NBA level, uncontested shots get made at about 60%. Highly contested shots get made at about 20%. And 3 weeks ago, we weren't very good at contesting shots. Now, all of a sudden, our guys are learning to contest shots without fouling, and teams aren't shooting the balls well. And it's the same way with getting to the free throw line. And it's not just ball screening. I think the other reason is our guys are doing a much better job of getting the ball inside, and the posts are developing nicely to where we can throw it to him inside. And Tony's making free throws, so instead of missing the front end of a bonus, he's getting 2 shots now instead of 1. So free throw shots are going to go up because he does get fouled a lot.
With contesting shots, what's been the change there? How have they learned to contest it better?
Well, I think one, stats. We showing them a lot of tape on it. We've been showing them tape on playoff basketball right now of how things get contested so hard. And I thought that was, after watching a lot of game film on us as a staff, we felt like contesting shots was something we just didn't do very well. We'd stop on plays. A lot of young guys do that. You close out once and you get into scramble mode, and now you're wide open and I'm 6 feet away, so I just stand there and let you shoot it because I don't think I can do anything, instead of flying at you and at least getting the hand up. And our guys have learned to do that, and now they're seeing it. It's one thing to see it in film and you have coaches talk to you about it, but then when you see results to where, I flew at you and you missed it, then you see results, then it's like, I got to keep doing that. So I think the guys have done a good job of just trying it and learning it, and now they're seeing some results, so they're doing a much better job at it.
How big of a part has Tony played in that, just not fouling as much under the hoop?
Well, he's crucial. Having him in there is crucial because now we get in a normal rotation with him and Tom. Tom's been tremendous when Tony's been in foul trouble, but having Tony's experience is big. And it doesn't mean you always miss. That's why I kept saying at Cal, I thought Kevon challenge the last shot that they made in the corner as well as you could challenge a shot. It just happened to go in, so it doesn't always work, but challenging shots has a lot to do with it. But I think in Tony's regard, he's working defensively more early in the possession. And what I mean by that, he's not waiting on the offensive player to get position. He's starting to guard before that. And we always talk about you can't be reactionary defensively. You got to anticipate, and he's anticipating much better than what he was a month ago.
Cool.